Well, I've now had my Tesla Model 3 for 4 years now, and it's also got just over 50,000 miles of distance run on the clock. So warranty has now expired. And the question is going to be, how has this car been doing? So we're going to be taking a long drive today down to the south of England, and we're going to be discussing how this car has been doing. So we are heading off to Larkhall Supercharger to begin with, and predicted range is going to be 26% when we get there. So let's see how well it does. So one of the things I want to talk about is the map. So there was an episode about 18 months ago where it was telling you on the directions to stay on the dual carriageway at the next junction every 6 miles or so. They fixed that. It's now telling me to stay on the A90 all the way through to the first roundabout where you have to take affirmative action in Dundee. I'm here in Stonehaven just now. But the map itself, it hasn't really improved all that much over the last 4 years. So, for example, we've got the autopilot on, and we're navigating on this. This bit up here, that's only half a mile away from where I am down here. And there's no auto zoom. So it will have that kind of fixed distance all the time unless you're coming up to a junction where you're supposed to change direction. And certainly in my old car, it would zoom out when you're on a high-speed road and you'd have a visibility of 10 miles. It would zoom out even further if you're on a motorway, and it would zoom right in built-up areas. And that was much better. The other thing this map doesn't do so well is that if you go into areas where there's no phone reception, even if you're on a planned route where Tesla knows you need to have these maps in place, you run out of map, you run out of rendering on the map, and then you just get grid squares. I just wonder why it thinks it needs to load up this information from the internet in real time. Why can't it cache the map locally on the Tesla Model 3? And that's something I've never really understood. Well, we're nearly at the first supercharger. We've got predicted charge of 16%. In fact, we're at 16%. This is Larkhall Supercharger. Been here plenty of time before at the Radisson Hotel. Very nice hotel. Very odd, the routing today. Normally it takes me to the south junction for Larkhall. This time it took me through the north junction for Larkhall, and I have no idea why, because it's much simpler to go via the south junction. So unless it took me that way because of right turns or something else. Oh yeah, it says queues likely, so maybe that's got something to do with it. So very interesting choice of route. But generally speaking, one of the things I'd like to just say is that you should always trust the directions that the Tesla map is giving you. Even if you think you know better, it often does it for a reason, and that's very interesting. Frost, I haven't seen frost so far this year, so that's very interesting. Okay, charging up. Time for breakfast, I think. Now, last time I came here, they said, oh, we don't serve breakfast to passers-by until later on. And I thought to myself, okay, but they serve me anyway. And hopefully they'll do the same today because I'm starving. Okay, so it's £15 to have whatever you want. So I chose the full Scottish, so that's what I've got. Right, well, that is a breakfast now done. Gonna have to say, facilities here are a lot better than what you get at Abington Services, which is just up the road. And I also prefer it for practical reasons. I don't have enough charge on frosty mornings to get all the way to Abington. But here, no problem at all. Right, so I think it's time to talk about the biggest cost with this car. It is, of course, depreciation. So I paid £48,500 for this back in the year 2021. 4 years later, the value of this car is now £17,000 with 50,000 miles on it. If I was to have 100,000 miles on it by now, it would be worth about £12,500. So that gives you an indication of what mileage does to depreciation. It's an extra £4,500 off for an extra 50,000 miles, roughly speaking. So if I was to buy it at 2 years old, so the value of the car in 2023 was about £24,500. So it's depreciated about £7,500 since 2 years ago. Now, in terms of costs, all I've been doing is putting electricity in it, screen wash, and more recently wiper blades and a new set of tyres at 30,000 miles. So the new set of tyres, they were bought with black circles, £750. Now, in terms of other repairs, there's been a replacement windscreen, had a big long crack. That took 8 months. That cost about £770, but that was covered by insurance less the excess. That took 8 months. That was back in 2022 when there was a shortage of parts for everything. But in terms of warranty repairs, most recently, these things here, parking sensors. This one here, and also the one on the next to the wheel arch on the rear right-hand side. They failed within about 1 month of each other. Different faults appeared. This one said it was blocked or obstructed, even though it was clean. But curiously, if you gave the car a wash, sometimes the fault would disappear. But I think what has been going on is that dirt has been getting in a tiny little gap between the wheel arch lining and the bodywork. And I'm just wondering if the dirt has gummed things up. But the fault on the other side, that was a communications fault. But both of those have been replaced under warranty. So next destination is Preston. We are at 84% charge. And I think even though it's predicting 4% charge to get down there, I think we can continue off now. I want to show you a new trick. This came up in the software update in the summertime. So you can see we're charging. So hold this 3 seconds. And now it's disconnected. So that's a trick, very useful trick, because it means I don't have to dig the phone out of my pocket in order. How do you get this in? It doesn't slide in. Oh well, I've got it out, no problem. Oh well, this is a review about the car, not the charger. Anyway, let's get in and let's be on our way. Now I'm gonna have to say I am glad that supercharger worked. It's been 8 months since I've used the supercharger. The last time I used it was in March, and it's now October. And one of the other things I had, which flashed up for less than a second, I had, whilst I was parked up in a supermarket, not charging, I got a message very briefly, unable to charge, service required. I've not seen that message before, and it happened about 3 weeks before my warranty was due to expire. So you can imagine I was very keen to get that sorted out. As it turned out, I had no trouble with charging afterwards. I got back home and I charged up no problem at all. And it happened at a time when the cable wasn't even plugged in. But I took it to the service centre, and they replaced the AC cable. So even though the message didn't flash up again, I just thought to myself, let's just be on the safe side. I have seen on earlier software versions that this has been a known problem. Here we go. Park assist unavailable. Oh dear! Don't tell me there's another. Don't tell me there's another sensor fault again. Oh dear. That's such a coincidence. Well, we're now coming up to Preston Supercharger, so there's 9 spare stalls available. It's been a very pleasant journey down from Scotland this morning, not much traffic at all. Okay, charging up. Let's go into here. One of the things that's you get are these signs here, and the thing you need to look at is that day guests must enter their vehicle registration number. Well, I'm gonna have to say, I don't like this idea of having to register to park your car. If you're here for a short length of time, it should be no need, really. You should really, ideally, have a 2-hour free parking limit, and then you don't have to interact with this need to register. I'm sure there are plenty of Tesla drivers charging up at these superchargers who get a parking charge notice through the post because they don't see these signs. And yeah, sure, you can see the signs, but if you're single focused and you've just got muscle memory, they're easy to not see as well. So I want to talk about insurance. I had my new insurance premium about 2 months ago, and all told, I'm paying about £20 more compared to the previous year. But for that extra £20, I can do more annual mileage, 15,000 miles instead of 13,000 miles. I've got a lower excess, and I can put a business insurance back on for almost no extra cost. So I moved from Direct Line to Admiral Insurance, and it made a lot more sense to do that. So all told, I think the runaway train that is insurance premiums has, at the very least, it stopped going up at quite a steep gradient now, which is really important for a Tesla Model 3 because they do attract a premium compared to other lesser powered electric vehicles. One other little defect which I've noted with my car in the last 3 weeks. Have a look here. We have got a blister on the steering wheel that appeared 3 weeks ago, and it's quite annoying. This would be covered by warranty if the warranty was still in place. However, I haven't seen too much. Oh, I've seen another blister right there. I haven't seen too much advice about how to deal with them. Google Gemini AI suggests using a heat gun, and to my mind, that seems to that would probably make the blister worse, wouldn't it? But I'd be interested in your comments about how to fix blisters on steering wheels. I have to say, I've never had an issue with blistering steering wheels on my previous cars, and they tend to use leather in my last 2 vehicles, and this one is vegan leather. So yeah, make what you want of that. So this morning, or this evening, when I was loading up my car, this was wet right here. And one of the problems I have are these pine needles. This seal here was getting clogged up with pine needles, and you're getting pine needles here and also up there, and that lets the water in. So it's very important to keep the pine needles away from the rubber seals above the boot. So in terms of how the interior is keeping up, that's my seat, and it's holding up well. There aren't any creases or crinkles or anything like that, so that's very reassuring. So next stop is Frankley Services at Birmingham. So I've only been here arrived about 10:15. No, in fact 10:20. So I've only been here about 17 minutes, and we've charged up from 13% to 68%. So nice and quick. Okay, so here we are, coming up to Frankley Services. So it's 4 spare superchargers at the moment. So we will get our charge. It's nearly 12:30, and the predicted time for arrival was actually pretty good considering the amount of congestion that we had. So we have to turn right here. Okay, charging up. So time for some services. I think it's been about 20 years since I've been in these services. Yeah, last time I did this journey, I stopped at Solihull Supercharger at the service centre, and that only had 6 superchargers, and I was queuing for 5 minutes, and I was stuck with a Duff supercharger that was only delivering 50 kilowatts. But with this one, I think I'll be charging up for 25 minutes, and honestly, I really do need the break. I mean, I'm getting sciatica down my thighs at the moment, so I definitely need the stretch of the legs. So we've also got GridServe rapid chargers here, but there's a reason why I don't use GridServe. They charge a lot of money. I think last time I checked it was about 85p per kilowatt hour, but people are actually using it. I mean, there's quite a few people parked up and charging here. When I did this 600-mile challenge for the first time in 2021, the charging up times was much longer. It was about 40 minutes because most of the chargers available were version 2 chargers. Now we've got version 4, and I typically only go for version 4 chargers simply because they are a lot faster. But when it comes to supercharging, I want to talk about Scotland a little bit. Last 18 months, there have only been 2 developments. One is the expansion of Eurocentral superchargers, and the other one is the expansion of Abington. There haven't been any new sites in the last 15-ish months up in Scotland, which is a bit disappointing. And one of the things which I found very interesting was a recent poll by Tesla where owners can vote for the next superchargers. And the most voted for location in the United Kingdom was Portree. And it makes a lot of sense. Anyone who watched my previous North Coast 500 video will know that there is a complete lack of suitable options up in the Highlands of Scotland. So it makes sense that people want superchargers in holiday locations. Okay, so time is 12:51, so only here for 21 minutes. So I really want to discuss the question, how long do I want to keep this car for? And the number in my head is to keep it up to 100,000 miles. So bearing in mind it's 4 years old and we've just done, come on, nearly 51,000 miles. Yes, near 50,999 miles. Bearing in mind we've done that distance. We're looking at the prospect of me keeping this car for another 4 years. And the question is going to be, what could possibly go wrong in the next 4 years? And the only frame of reference I've got to answer that question is other people's experience with the Model 3 and my own experience with my previous cars. And when it comes to my previous cars, I know that wheel assemblies, which include things such as shock absorbers and brakes and control joints, are definitely things which will probably be replaced in that period of time. But the experience of other Model 3 owners has been pretty good in terms of a lack of any cohesive information about what needs to be replaced. There might be something which is serious, such as the battery not being able to charge. I get the impression that's only a small problem affecting a small number of people. But all told, I don't feel any strong urge to replace this car anytime soon. But nonetheless, whilst I had this car in for warranty repair on the most recent AC charging cable, I had the opportunity to test drive the new Model 3. And I'm going to have to say, I did not like the lack of indicator stalk, but I have been told that is coming. That is either come back or it is coming back. But in all other respects, it feels much better put together. It's got much better acoustics inside the cabin. You can't even hear the motor at all. You can always hear the whine of the electric motor on this one at all speed ranges. But it's also got a much better range. So this one has got an official range of 360 miles, and the new rear-wheel drive long-range Model 3 has got an official range, I think it's 460-ish miles. And that's an extra 100 miles. And in terms of effective range, this is 300 miles from 100% to 0% on Scottish A roads. So I would expect to get 390 miles in effective range in the same circumstances with a brand new Model 3. Does that extra range matter? In my opinion, yes, it does. I believe a standard range Model 3 on a long distance drive will be able to accomplish that journey in the same time as this long range Model 3. It's not the range which matters with the vehicle, it's the efficiency of the vehicle plus the charging speed. Those are the two parameters which determine how long your journey is going to take on these long journeys. But range does matter nonetheless, because you can be in situations where you don't have charging available at your destination. And at that point, you're going to find a journey, even a short journey, where you have to take time out and charge up. Your charging is going to interfere with your day. And that's not okay. An extra range is one very effective solution to accomplishing that. Now, if you had, for example, a hypothetical 1,000 mile range on a electric car, that gives you a lot of options to drive a lot of places without having to charge up. And then when you do charge up, it's at a time which absolutely suits you in terms of both time and price, which will typically be at your own home after you've been on holiday doing the North Coast 500, for example. So yeah, I'm interested in where electric cars are going. But then there's also the question of, would my next car be a Tesla Model 3? And I think probably. Is it a perfect car? I don't think it's quite perfect. There is one thing which is missing from the Model 3 and also probably also the Model Y, which other cars offer, and that is vehicle to load charging. And that can be a massive quality of life boost, especially during grid blackout situations. And grid blackout situations happen. And if you've followed my previous videos, you will know that the paperwork needed to get a fixed installation involving an extra battery at my house costs a lot of money. Whereas if you just had an extension cable plugged into your Model 3 and you're able to run your essential loads from your house straight out of your Model 3 during a grid blackout, that could be a massive quality of life boost for a lot of people. And that's the one thing that might tempt me to trade this vehicle in before 100,000 miles. I am willing to entertain other vehicles out there, but I will also say one of the main reasons I like Teslas a lot is because of the supercharger network. That charge I just did, it was 40 pence per kilowatt hour, and you compare that to GridServe, that was 85 pence per kilowatt hour. It's just such a competitive price to have, and I know you can charge up on a non-Tesla, but you're paying a higher price. I just like the overall package and convenience of being able to use the superchargers. They've got a reputation for being reliable and no hassle to use whatsoever. Well, I finally made it. But we've got 19% charge on the battery, and that's pretty much where we were in terms of the predicted range when we set off. You know, if I was to make a YouTube channel about my petrol or diesel car, I don't think anybody would be terribly interested because plenty of people have got one of those already. They're a known quantity. But electric cars, 4 years later, are still a novel concept for a lot of people. 4 years ago, I was very much an early adopter. Now, I would say electric cars are on the cusp of becoming mainstream. People have got the idea that energy has to cost money somehow. And yet, what we have here is a situation where you can get all the energy you want for half of the year for free. So am I going to continue making more electric car videos? I'm not so sure. But in the near future, there's going to be some more videos. So immediately, very, very soon, I'm going to be doing a weekend trip to London, going to be doing some sightseeing, going to be taking a lot of different transportation options. So watch out for that. There's a 5-year anniversary for my solar panels. That's coming up. I'll be talking about that probably in the middle of November to mark the 5th anniversary. And there's something else I've been doing. I've been learning a tool called Blender, and I've made a 3D rendition of my entire house. So I'm quite interested in whether people would like to have a tutorial from me, from my perspective, about how to make objects in Blender. I think a lot of people can get used to that and get into that kind of thing. It's definitely a very enjoyable hobby. But that's it for this video. I'd like to thank you all for watching, and I'll talk to you again very soon.